welcome to my channel. Welcome to today's video. Today's video is going to be an update on my rolling project pan. So essentially I have a product in every single makeup category other than eyeshadow, and I am trying to either completely use them up or hit pan on them. So I'm gonna tell you about each product, update you on my progress. So if that sounds good to you, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't yet. I would love it if you stuck around. But with all that, let's just get started talking about these products. All right. Now, a few things I would just like to get your feedback on. One, I usually do this series every other month, and then on the opposite months, I update you on my eyeshadow project pan. I'll link that playlist up above because this is everything other than eyeshadow, and eyeshadow I do completely separately for that project. And I'm kind of thinking that I just want to do both projects monthly. I'm seeing some like better progress. I feel like I'm getting into a groove here. I was kind of doing every other month because I am a little bit of a slow panner, but I'm feeling like maybe bringing it as like a monthly series instead. Let me know if that's just too much panning content for you. I'm fine doing the every other month, but some things like just the jump from update to update is so high that I feel like monthly updates would be better. So I'd love your feedback on that. And then the second thing is I don't have any photos. So to be quite honest, like the photos are very tedious to do. I don't know how much people enjoy the photos. So I haven't been taking photos these last 2 months here. And I would love to know how important they are to you. It's nice to like see the progression, but is it just more important for you to see like maybe where it was when I rolled it in versus where it is now? Or do you like seeing the progression of the actual panning product? If you guys like it, if you really want it, I will do it, but I kind of just want to wait and see what y'all think. So this video will have no photos. I'm sorry, but it is the longest thing that takes me to do out of any video that I do are the photos. I just don't have the right system yet. I'm not going to complicate you with the details, but I'm just messing around with some thoughts here. After that though, I'm gonna jump right into my progress. I only have one rollout, which is a little disappointing, but a lot of these are just some long haul products. I think I'll have a more exciting update next month, but I'm gonna go in order of application, not in order that I rolled this in. So starting with my primer here, this is the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. So I rolled this in February of this year, and in April I used it 15 times, May I used it 12, for a total of 52 times so far since rolling it in. And this is what it's looking like. I'm starting to see some progress. I'm starting to see some good progress on everything, which is making me feel very motivated. You don't need that much of this, so it doesn't take a lot, and I do find this kind of like an unnecessary step. This is not a product that I really love, and at this point I'm just trying to get it out of my collection. Then my next product is my color corrector. This I've had in the project since October of last year, and I've used it 23 times in April, 26 times in May. I do pretty much always use this when I do my makeup. Here's what it's looking like. I have a total of 159 tracked uses on this. I cannot see the bottom of the jar yet, but there is a really good dip forming. Curious to see just how deep this goes. They do still make this product. Everything, I'm mostly wearing everything on my face today, and it's always listed in the description box, but I believe that they changed the packaging on this. It's a really nice color corrector. It's just, I have other color correctors in my backup drawer, and I'm ready to get this one out so I can roll a new one in. This is not a product like you need backups of. It's been, I've been working on this for a while. Then my concealer, which I've been working on even longer than that color corrector. I've been working on this for almost 2 years. This was actually one of the few products that I have right now that I rolled in the introduction of my project pan, which was October of 2022. Now I only started tracking uses in October 2023, a year later. So the uses aren't accurate, but in April I used it 16 times, May I used it 23 for a total of 150 tracked uses on this. And this is what it's looking like. When I rolled it in 2022, this was basically untouched. I mean, it maybe had 20 uses and I'm being generous. So similar to the color corrector, we're making progress. First year, I didn't get as much use on it as I wanted to. I really didn't find my groove with this, but I've been using it more and more. I'll sometimes just use this as a base with a powder on top on like kind of lighter makeup days. Sometimes I'll use it as an eyelid primer. That's how I'm using it today, but I'm really trying to power through this. I have a backup of this in the shade Up because this is the shade Vanilla and it is a little bit light for me. This is a nice product, but you know, I don't know if I find it to be my holy grail like a lot of people do. For the intended purposes, it would be spot concealing, and I'm just not someone who needs to spot conceal that often. So that's why I just like don't find this completely necessary, but I'm happy that I'm finally like getting some love on it because it's just sitting in my collection. Now my actual concealer that I've been using on my under eyes is this Catrice Liquid Camouflage. I brought this in October of 2023. So I've been working on it for what, 7-8 months so far. In April, I used it 24 times. May, I used it 7. The reason that it has low uses in May and for a lot of these is because I was gone for 3 weeks out of that month and I didn't bring all my project pan items, like things that I just knew I didn't really want to use, I didn't bring them. This is a really good concealer. When I rolled it in, my line markings have come off. I need to like fix that, but it was about here when I rolled it in. And now like, I think next month I'll have this out. I've taken the stopper out and right now I'm just really trying to get through the sides. There's not really anything at the bottom. So I'm gonna see how much further I can take this concealer. I think it's got maybe a month or 2 left. And like I said, I liked it. This is a good concealer. It's just, it is very thick. It is very full coverage and it's a little bit light for me now, surprisingly, in the summer. So I have to be very careful that it's not too highlighty. I am wearing this. I like it. I would repurchase it. I just do not need to purchase a new concealer. But if I had a normal collection, that is a concealer I would repurchase as a full coverage concealer. Now the foundation is probably my least impressive update. I considered for the last couple of days before filming this, honestly, of just stopping this foundation, but I think I'm gonna hold strong and power through at least until next month. Maybe next month I'll change my mind. But this is the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Water Foundation. This is discontinued now. So I rolled this in October of 2023. April, I used it 3 times. May, I used it 4 times. Pretty not great, pretty dismal usage for a total of 44 times since rolling it in. It was about halfway done. So I'm pretty proud of my progress for 44 uses. When it got to this point, because it is hard to see, like the bottle, it doesn't completely settle. The product sticks to the side. So I did decant it into this. And I am wearing this today, but this container was like pretty much full. Like if I tilted it, it would have spilled out. So I am making, I just gotta be very careful. I am making a little bit of progress on this, even though I have low uses. So because of that, I do think I'm gonna keep it in. I might change my mind next month, no promises, but for now, it still smells okay. It's not completely expired yet. It is definitely getting up there, but I wanna really commit to finishing a foundation and continue using this, especially because in the winter time, it was a little bit too dark for me, and now it's like the perfect shade match. It's matching pretty well. It doesn't wear the best anymore. Like it definitely doesn't wear like it used to, and I think that's my problem is I just have so many foundations that wear better, so I'm not wanting to reach for this, but I think I just want to challenge myself to actually use this up. So hopefully, you know, June, I see a little bit more usage with that. Now, my only rollout is sad, but it's my little sample card. I actually finished this the last update, but I completely forgot it because I finished it. I had it like set aside, and so I didn't talk about it, and I just figured I'd talk about it this update. I mean, these were the only 2 shades I could use, and both of them were just 1 usage. This was not like a challenge or anything, but I am trying to get through all of my samples here. These shades were too dark, so I'm officially gonna put this in my empties. I have 1 little sample pack done, and then I am gonna roll in a new sample pack, but we'll talk about that at the end and just continue on to powder here. I have 2 powders. I have like a loose under eye setting powder, and then I have like an all over face powder. So for the loose powder, this is the by Terry Hyaluronic Hydra Powder in just translucent. I panned the pressed version of this before. This was just a little travel size. It has 1.5 grams in it. So I brought this in February of this year. So I've been working on it for what, 3 months or so. April, I used it 18 times. May, I used it 3 times. This was not a product that I brought with me when I was out of town. I've used it a total of 42 times. So you don't need a lot of this. This is gonna take me a while still, even though it's 1.5 grams. It's just, if you use too much, it looks very heavy and chalky. You have to be especially careful with the concealer because it's so full coverage, it can just crease really easily. But this is where I started, and here's where I'm at. I'm actually pretty proud of that progress because I do not use powder that quickly. I'm gonna mark it real fast before I forget. So that's a feat for me. I actually was not expecting to use this much when I looked at my progress. So yeah, I like this. I would not repurchase this. I like the pressed version so much better. It's just easier to use. It doesn't, you know, give me that problem where if I use too much, it looks just really chalky under my eye. That I just have to be so careful with. So the pressed version's better than the powder, than the loose for sure. Now that brings me to my pressed all over face powder. This is the Laura Mercier Candleglow powder in shade 1. This is my most exciting. So in April, I used it 19 times. In May, I used it 22 for a total of 96 uses. I brought this in of April and last year. And are you ready? Because this officially has pan, guys. I was having such a hard time using this in the beginning when I brought it in. This is like an Hourglass powder, but better. And while the Hourglass powders are beautiful, this product is beautiful. Again, like I had just trouble reaching for it, kind of like the Nars. So I finally found my groove with this. I wore this a lot when I was in Spain. I was at a dog rescue for the entire month of April. So that's where I just really got my use out of this, because I would use the concealer, kind of like cover up some redness. And then I would just take a big brush and use that kind of as my foundation. So that was like my no makeup look almost. I mean, I was still wearing makeup, but definitely lighter makeup. And I am so happy to finally see pan in this. It is such just a huge motivation to see this. You know, this is still gonna last me a while, but I think now I have less than 6 months with this, which is super exciting to know that I might finish this powder this year. That does not always happen to me, considering this was like a brand new product. It barely had any use on it when I rolled it in. So I'm just really happy about this, and I'm continuing to reach for it. Again, similar to some other products, I tan very quickly. So in the wintertime, this was too dark for me, and now I can use it no problem. So I'm anticipating that this will go much quicker. Now for complexion, I have some powder products and some cream as far as bronzer, blush, and highlight. For bronzer, it's actually a contour. This is the Kevyn Aucoin Sculpting Powder in Light. So I rolled this in October of last year. That was a really big refresh month for me. So you'll hear that number a lot, or that date. But in April, I used it 20 times. May, I used it 19. And I've used this a total of 114 times since rolling it in. And this is what it's looking like. I can finally see like a huge dip in this. I use this a lot in Spain as well. Instead of using it as a contour powder, I was using it kind of like as an eyeshadow, to be quite honest, which is where a lot of this usage came from. But usage is usage. I'm not, gonna be upset about it. I used it and that's all that matters. So I'm really happy to see the dip here. Now that I'm back home and kind of in my more normal routine, I'm using it again as like nose contour. I did use it as like eyeshadow today, but for the most part, I want to try to stick to my eyeshadows and get usage on that as well. There's really just a balancing act of making sure you're using everything when you're trying to be a little bit more mindful on using up products, but I'm also just really, really happy with the progress on this. I am nowhere near close finishing this. Like, this is a product to finish. All of these have been so far. I'll let you know if it differs, but this still has probably minimum a year, if not 2 years left, because I don't need a lot when I'm contouring my nose. Moving on to blush, I've had this product, just like the Nars Soft Matte, since the beginning of my project in October of 2022, so a year and a half ago, and it is my Ciate blush in Date Night. This is a baked blush, and I should have known better, but in April I used it 22 times, May 23 times, for a total of 94 tracked uses. The tracked uses are a little bit off because I've only been tracking it for a year, so there's a year of untracked. But here's what it's looking like. So this product I'm only trying to hit pan on because it is so difficult to hit pan on a blush. So that's my goal, hit pan, and then I'll rotate in another blush. I'm seeing some progress, like, I don't know if you can tell here, but in the center there's like a pretty good dip, and I'm trying to focus my brush on this side here. The problem with this is that it's just gonna take a while to hit pan because it's like concave. So I can't really focus my brush too much on the center and just try to like hit pan faster. I really have to try to wear down the side, which is fine. I enjoy this blush. It is a really nice blush. It's very warm tone, so a lot of the times it doesn't go with my eye look. I'm wearing it today, even though I'm wearing kind of like a more cool tone eye look. I'm just wearing it to wear it, so excuse me if like it doesn't super match up, but I'm feeling the progress on this. I'm feeling optimistic, even though this is still going to take me, I don't know if I'll hit pan this year, to be quite honest, but slow and steady, slow and steady. I'm at least getting more uses on it. Sometimes I would only get, 6 to 7 uses, but having my uses be in the high 20s, the low 20s, really, really helps to see some progress on it. Now for highlight, I rolled this in April of this year, so this is one of the newer products to my project. I hit pan on my last highlight, and I'm trying to hit pan on this one before I roll in a new one. This is not to finish, just to hit pan on, but it is the Nars highlighter in Fort de France. So in April, I used it 14 times. May, I used it 20 for a total of 34 times since rolling it in. And there's like some disturbance. I don't think I'm close to hitting pan, but I was not anticipating to have this much disturbance in the pan already. This highlight is interesting because when I rolled it in, I remember it being like a really blinding highlight, but in like today's standards, I wouldn't consider this a blinding highlight anymore. It's not a subtle highlight by any means. Like, I mean, you can see it. But the blinding highlights now, I'm thinking of like the Rare Beauty highlight. They're so metallic. My definition of a blinding highlight has just changed, and I find that interesting to me because I was a little bit afraid to roll this into the project because I don't always want such a blinding highlight, but it's a good in-between. It definitely gives impact without being like a metallic stripe. I quite like this. I use this on my eyes sometimes, like I would use the contour with the highlight when I was feeling lazy, and it worked really well. But happy with my progress so far for only having it in for 3 months or so. I'm pretty happy with that, and I'm hoping that we'll see some pan in this pretty quickly here. And then my last complexion before we kind of get into the miscellaneous is my cream products. So this is the Hourglass Sheer Illume Trio. I rolled this in October of last year. This is to completely finish because it is one of my oldest cream products. I'm honestly surprised that this still performs well and doesn't smell bad, but here's what it's looking like. This is one that kind of hurts my heart a little bit because I have been saying for at least 2 or 3 updates that pan was right around the corner. There's no way I wasn't going to hit pan, and I still haven't hit pan. In April, I used it 16 times. May, I used it 8 for a total of 88 times on each one. So 88 times on the highlight, blush, and the bronzer since rolling it in. And I just can't believe I'm almost at 100 tracked uses for this and don't have pan, especially in the bronzer. Like, it's just got to be around the corner. I think I'm going to try to start underpainting with this to try and like move this along a little bit quicker. If I just had pan in it, I would feel a little bit more motivated about it. It's very beautiful. I love it. I love using it every day, but I have other creams I also want to use that I have in Shop My Stash or just, you know, want to try. And this is taking away the focus. So I'm struggling to like find that balance of using it and using other things. So I think I'm just going to try underpainting and see what that does. I've actually never done underpainting. I know it's like very popular. I just kind of stick with what I know. So I haven't tried it, but I'm going to give it a shot, see if that helps me move this along a little bit quicker. I mean, I'm proud of like the highlight indent. I didn't think I'd be this far in the highlight, but the bronzer, I just need to like get moving. I didn't have a good month for May on usage, 8 times, and usually I use it more than that. So that's part of it, I think, but I am just ready to see some better progress on this than I've been seeing so far. Now that brings us to kind of just our miscellaneous items. I have my setting spray here. I'm trying to just work through one setting spray at a time because I, for a while, had so many just opened and laying about and was cluttering up my space. So setting spray is not something I use as often as I used to. I'm trying to push myself. But in April, I used this 3 times. May, I used this 3 times. And I've used it a total of 30 times since rolling it in. And I rolled it in November of last year. So here's my progress marks. It was completely full when I rolled it in. So I am starting to see some use, but I need to do more than 3 times a month or else I'm just never going to finish this. And I'm never going to finish the other setting sprays in my collection here. I've been feeling the need to use a setting spray more than I used to because now that it's getting summer, I'm powdering a little bit more. So I'm wanting to take down that powderiness. So hopefully like summertime, I see a little bit more usage, but really need to just like get cracking on this because it is one of my most neglected makeup products. And then I have some lip stuff. So I have a lipstick and a lip liner. For the lipstick, you guys know that this I've really just been complaining about every single time. This is the Buxom Power Plump in Glowing. They still make this product. It's supposed to be like a lip balm that plumps. It's like a very chubby stick. Just show you my progress here. When I rolled this in, it was brand new and it was like domed. So I am proud of my progress. I use this, let's see, 9 times in, sorry, the wrong one. I use this 10 times in April, 18 times in May. That's really good for me. I was really only using this product like maybe 2 or 3 times a month. So what I did is now like I keep it on my person and it's helping me just use it more. And that's all I can ask for. At this point, like I am semi-hate panning this. I did try it as a cream blush. It works really nice as a cream blush, but I'm focusing on this, so I don't want to take away from it. I have a total of 73 tracked uses on this. This is my last product where my tracked uses aren't correct because I started tracking progress after rolling this in. So, you know, I'm feeling like it'll roll out soon-ish, sooner than later. If you asked me this last update, like I would have said this is going to last me another year easily, but I think that if I can just keep it on me, find what works for me as far as like using it and not reaching for other things, I think I could get this out in maybe 6 months, just applying it when I can. I don't think I'll dig out this component. A lot of the times I will, but I think once I reach the plastic part here, I will just kind of call this done. And then let me see for my marking here. I can make a new mark, which is really nice. So let me just add that here and I'll show you how much I've used since my last update. So there's where I was 2 months ago, and that's where I am now. I mean, it could be better, but this is really chubby. Like, this is not a normal lipstick bullet, so it is going to take me a little bit longer to see just progress going down. Here's what it looks like all the way rolled down. So you can't see, like, it was domed like up to here. You can see that I've been trying my best, but that is also one that's going to take me a while. The reason being is this lip liner here. This lip liner I've just been using over my lipstick because this is just so creamy as a lip liner, so I don't use it as that. This is the Dior lip liner in glossy pink. It's a glossy liner. I mean, it has no stiffness to it, so I just use it as a lipstick. I'm getting down on this. I use this 9 times in April, 5 times in May. That's actually pretty low for me. I usually use it way more than that. I used it a total of 51 times since rolling it into this project of October of last year. And I mean, I think next update, this is one that's going to be done. Let me show you my markings on it. Just find it here. So this is where I started, all the way up here. And that's where I am now. So I've used quite a bit of this. I'm really happy with this. It doesn't take a lot to use this. I purposely waited today to sharpen it because it is all the way down. It needs to be sharpened again. And I don't know how much I'm going to be able to sharpen this. Every time, not every time, but most of the time when I take the lid off, the end actually comes off instead of the lid. So I don't know how much life this has left in it. I was going to try and finish it for this update, but I think I can baby it a little bit longer. I do like this, but it's not a lip liner. It shouldn't be advertised as a lip liner. As a lipstick, it's very, very nice. 2 more things to talk about. My eyeliner here. This is just the Dior eyeliner in black. I rolled in an eyeliner because I almost never ever use a black eyeliner. I use this 12 times in April, 6 times in May, for a total of 52 times since rolling it into this project in October of last year. And that is 52 more times than I would have used it had I not rolled it in. I've had this for years and years and years, and it is still this big. And it's even, I mean, I've made some progress on it. So here's my markings since rolling it in. Like, I almost never use a black eyeliner. Honestly, I just prefer brown. I find it to be a little bit more soft. So what I started doing with this is actually just like kind of lining the top part of my eye, just like a third here with the black. And then I will take a brown liner, a brown eyeshadow, excuse me, and then kind of smudge it out. So I'm still kind of getting that brown effect, but I'm also using the black to really make it stick. So it's just a little bit of a darker brown. That's been working really well for me. I have like 6 black eyeliners, and that's 6 too many. Like, really, I could use 1 travel sized and that would last me 5 years. So trying to just work through that, push myself to maybe not do the same look over and over again and switch it up just a little bit. Then my last item in this project, I know it's a lot of items, but I really just try to have like a full face. So that way, if I don't know what to do that day, I can just reach in for everything and have a full face done. But my last item is actually a fragrance. So this is the Victoria's Secret Almond Blossom and Oak Milk. This is what it looks like. I rolled this in April of this year because I finished my last fragrance and I wanted to bring something a little bit lighter to Spain when I went to volunteer. I didn't think bringing like a really heavy fragrance would be the smartest choice. So I used this 30 times in April every single day since rolling it in, and then 17 times in May for a total of 47 tracked uses. So this is where I am. It was basically full when I rolled it in. It maybe had like a little bit of evaporation, but this is where I am, and I'm really happy with that. For, 47 uses, I probably still have about 100 uses left if I did the same like volume is what I'm trying to say each time. So if I was to continue on the trajectory, I'd have this finished in 4 months. But I can tell you right now that I won't be using this as much as I did because this was the only fragrance I brought with me. And now I'll be swapping things, using some of my fragrances back there, maybe using this on like gym days or something like that is usually when I'll use my fragrance that I'm panning. So this will start to be a little bit slower, but at least I got a good head start on it and a good way to get some of the body mists out of my collection, because I keep those like way tucked back in like a cabinet, so I don't see them very often, and they need to get moving out of my collection as well. And then that's everything. That's everything that I have to talk about. The only thing left is just my roll-in. So my roll-in sample is going to be this little sample pack here of the Smashbox primers. I've used the Smashbox primers before for years and years. I've used the smoothing one. I've used they don't even have the original one. I used I think the green one for a while, but these are fine. I'm just gonna, you know, power through all 4 of these little blister packs here, use them up. I don't think I should have any problem with that and finishing these within the next month for my next update. I would assume that each of these probably has 2, maybe 3 uses in them. So that's achievable. I didn't want to bring in another foundation sample pack because I really want to focus on my Tarte foundation and move that out. And I'll just have too many foundations. I have the ones that I do wear tests on that I need to get cracking on, write my notes on, and rank soon. So I didn't want to have any more distraction. So this will be my sample pack. That's really my only roll-in, but I'm seeing some progress, and I think next month I'll have some good roll-ins, some good empties to roll new products in, is what I'm trying to say. This lip liner and the concealer, maybe. I think I'll really have to work on the concealer, and it depends on when I just want to call it. I don't think there's any at the bottom. I really do think I'm just scraping the sides. We'll see though. Lip liner, for sure. I think that'll be done. So that's all I have for you today. Let me know your thoughts down below if you don't mind seeing this monthly. That way I can also just have these videos be a little bit shorter. They tend to be one of my more long videos, and we can kind of cut that down, have shorter updates more frequently. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you thought about not seeing pictures. If you just are interested in seeing just the roll-in photo where I started to where I am today, or if you like the progression. I would like to hear your thoughts on both of those. Also, let me know if you're project panning so I can follow along with your journey. I find it super satisfying to watch other people, and it's also motivating for me. After that though, that's all I have for you. Hopefully you have a great day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone.